Hello, I'm Michelle Paver, and we're going out live on YouTube and Twitch TV. Welcome to the program. Oh yes, links on my website at michellepaver.com/chat. Oh yes, and if you'd like to take part in live chat while I'm talking, you can do so. On YouTube, you just go to the live chat area and start typing, and our resident elf will pick it up if he's worth his salt. Or you can tweet #Torak, and we'll also pick it up. Sorry about the hooting there, if you can hear that. That's someone in the outside. And now and then, while we're talking in this very live stream, we'll catch up with any live chat that has struck Elf's eye, and we'll be able to find out if he's still awake. So since I last did one of these, I have been really busy because I've finished Wolfbane. Well, that's to say I have sent it off to my wonderful publisher and editor, Fiona Kennedy, and she has considered it and said, yes, it's pretty good. That's a relief, and sent it back. And now I'm in the editing process, which is actually quite fun because it's not structural. It's just a little bit of polishing here and there. But I'm also doing other things because we've got the paperback of Skin Taker coming out in September. And I volunteered to do something to make it a little bit more special. I'm doing a question and answer sort of note to go at the back of the book. So there we are. It's quite a full plate. But back in April, when I did the last MP Live, if you recall, I showed you 3 video adverts for Skin Taker, which had been put together with loving care and under very difficult conditions by 3 very talented young directors at the National Film and Television School here in London. And we had that competition, and thanks to everyone who voted for their favourite of the 3 adverts. We announced the winner a few weeks later on, I think it was Instagram and Twitter and on my websites. But the votes were so overwhelmingly in favour of the winner, Zeynep Oguz, that I thought you might like to have another chance to see that wonderful ad of hers. So here it is.
Some places in the forest you can only find when you're lost. 4 arrows to bring back the first tree. The voice of then becomes the song of now.
Isn't that wonderful? Wow. Well, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Congratulations to Zeynep, and thanks again for everybody who voted for it. My favourite too. I loved it. Actually, while we're on visual design, we've had a contact from a fan, Lauren Philiban, if that's how I pronounce your name, who got in touch because she's just finished her project for her graphic design studies. And as part of her project, she's been designing covers for some of the Wolf Brother books. So I thought perhaps we could just, if Elf is up to scratch, we could just share with you some of her designs because they're really rather lovely. There we are. There's Oathbreaker with the horse. Gorgeous. Thank you. Got any others? I think we might have. Yes, Spirit Walker. Yes, that's right, Spirit Walker. Really interesting sort of underwater. Lovely stuff. So congratulations on that, Lauren. If any of others of you, I know you're a pretty sort of artistic lot. If any of you want to do, posters or illustrations or whatever, do remember that you can share them. You can post them on the virtual museum in wolfbrother.com, or maybe you might want to share them or join the subreddit, Wolf Brother subreddit community, and share them there. I should mention, if you can hear something that sounds like a baby crying, going, wah, wah, it's actually a baby crow who's taken up residence on my neighbour's roof just outside my window. And he's quite fun. There's also a rather tuneful goldfinch, but it's the crow that you can hear at the moment. So anyway, having dealt with the crow, now it's time for me to answer some of your questions and comments. We're splitting them up into 2 lots these days. So thank you to everyone who's written in. We get so many that, as usual, I'm not answering every single one, but do please be assured that I do read every single one, even if I can't sort of reply to them all. So let's go for it. Oh, new visuals, I think. Lovely. Right. Now, the first one, this is a comment, and it's a lovely one from Juliana, who's in Brazil. I don't know if that's legible up there, but anyway, she's in Brazil. Yes, thank you, Elf. That's a bit better. And she first read Wolf Brother 10 years ago. I won't read the whole thing out loud, but she's always loved them. And the thing that I want to bring out is that it inspired her to become a biologist. She learned about the study of science of ethology, which is animal behaviour. Last year, got her master's degree in ethology, studying dog behaviour, and now she's just learned that she's earned a PhD position to study dogs and wolves, which is kind of like a dream come true for her. Huge congratulations to you, Juliana. And she says, I wanted to thank you for the inspiration and the drive you created inside of me when I was just a curious 10-year-old. The thing I love about this, I mean, it really struck a chord with me because when I was 10, I wanted to be an ethologist. I read about Konrad Lorenz and Carl von Frisch and Nico Timberg and the three founders of ethology, and I wanted to be an ethologist. And then I got sidetracked into biochemistry. But so that really, was very touching. And thank you for sharing the picture as well. Good luck with the PhD and with your future career. There's also a lovely one from Natalia Cueto Diaz, who I think won one of the giveaways, because I remember sending you addressing a book to you in Mexico, and your mother's been in hospital. I'm sure she's out now, I think, because everything's fine now, and you just got in touch to say that hearing that you were going to get the book cheered you up a bit. So I'm really pleased about that, and I hope everything's fine now and that you enjoy the book. We've also got a lovely one from Torak. Yes, from Torak. Hello, I wanted to say something. I am your biggest fan in the whole world. I chose another name because I am transgender. Then I found your book. I immediately liked the name Torak and decided to do it as my name. I want to thank you for the best books in the whole world. Well, how fantastic is that? I'm really glad that Torak, the name, has helped you find something that feels authentic to you. And yeah, thank you so much for getting in touch, Torak. Now, Clint from Australia. This is one that maybe some of you can help me with. I wish someone would feed that crow. He's really making such a noise. He's obviously wants to be on the programme. I don't know. Anyway, Clint, yes, he came across the Wolf Brother books when he was I was in my mid to late 20s, says Clint. Now I'm happily sharing them with my 9-year-old daughter. Isn't that brilliant? That's lovely. And you've been reading them. I think you read them. Yes, you read the first 6 books over the course of several months, and now you've just finished Viper's Daughter in 5 days. Well done. You'll probably get through Skin Taker as well. And the question is, can I recommend any other books or authors while you and your daughter wait for Wolfbane? I'm rubbish at this because I actually don't follow sort of children's literature or young adult literature, so I can't think of any. But if anyone else who's watching this can has some suggestions of other authors or books that Clint's daughter might enjoy, maybe you can get in touch through live chat. Now we've got one from Dan. Yes, this is really sweet. Dan is in Holland, and you've enjoyed them. And you wanted me to wish your friend a happy birthday, which is coming up. I'm sorry, you sent your post about a month ago, so your friend's birthday has probably been and gone. I tried to get to look at your video, but I'm afraid my skills aren't quite up to. I typed it all in and I couldn't get it, so I'm afraid I haven't yet been able to see your video. But I'd like to wish your friend a very happy, if late, birthday, and thank you for getting in touch. Now, we've got 3 or 4 about availability, and I won't show every single one, but I'll just mention them briefly. Peter White, which I think we can show, yes. He liked the sample of Dark Matter on Kindle, but it was removed from the store before he could buy it. Great. That's down to Orion. So if anyone's listening from Orion, please could you fix that, because that's not very brilliant. Will Dark Matter return to the Amazon US Kindle store? Well, I don't know the answer to that. And similarly, I can't really answer the following questions, which won't coming up on the screen, but Rachel also wants to know if the Viper's Daughter will be in Dutch. Jasper wanted to know if there'll be ebooks of the series via Amazon or Google or Apple. Someone else from Russia, Zdravstvuyte, wants to know if Skin Taker and Video Viper's Daughter will be in Russian. Sebastien, whether it'll be in French. So to all of you who ask about sort of availability questions, I'm afraid I'm not the person to ask. Crow, I wish you'd shut up. This is going to add such a zest to this whole thing, isn't it? Anyway, yes, I don't know. I'm the last person the publishers tell me. But if you go to I think it's the Ask area of my website, click on Ask, there is a list of publishers. Elf has put together a list of publishers in different countries. And so the best thing to do will be to write to the publisher in your country or email them and ask them. And you should be able to get an answer from them. And if you don't, let me know. So thank you for all of you getting in touch there. Tamana Chowdhury, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. A lovely comment. It's lovely to zone out of real life and jump into Torak's amazing world. That's why I wrote the books, Tamana. So thank you for that. I think Torak would be upset about how much we've changed in this world, how we aren't in clans and everything. Yeah, I think you're probably right. And she has a question, what inspired me to write Chronicles of Ancient Darkness? Well, that's quite a long story, but you can find it if you go to wolfbrother.com and then go to Cave and then go to Why I Wrote Wolf Brother, and you'll find the answer. But it's not all in there. I mean, there were lots of bits that came from real life. And just to give you one little bit that I don't think is in that, the bit in Wolf Brother when Torak goes over the waterfall, and he gets hit on the head and blood comes into his eyes and he can't see. That's based on my father's experience, because when he was a young man he went over a waterfall that nobody had ever survived. By accident, he was trying to rescue one of his friends, managed to rescue her, got himself washed over the waterfall. And so Torak's reactions are based on my father's. Oh, and finally, before we catch up with live chat, there's one here from Jenny Rusunis. Her 10-year-old daughter, Eleni, is a huge fan, has devoured all of your Wolf Brother books in the last year. But she's got a problem because she's got a very strong imagination. That's not the problem. But at the age of 9, a lot of her friends aren't as keen on playing imagination games with her now. And she's feeling the pressure to grow up. At 9, this is having an impact on her mental health. Can we have the text a bit bigger, Elf, do you think, so that I can see it? That would be great. It's having an impact on her mental health as she feels like without imagination games, she's not being herself. She's been very low recently, not enjoying school as she dreads the break times, and she also loves writing books. And Jenny sounds like an amazing mother. She keeps trying to reassure her that imagination is an amazing gift. I talked to her about what your books would be like if you'd given up your imagination as a child. She's turning 10 on the 31st of May, and it would be fantastic if I could send her a message to encourage her in some way. Well, I'm sorry I missed your birthday, Eleni, so this comes a month late, but that really struck a chord with me because when I was 10, my supposed friends in my class ganged up on me. They didn't want to be friends with me anymore. So for about a year, I was bullied at school. I'm not sure if you're being bullied, but basically, they were getting grown up, so-called, and I wasn't. And so it was very much in the same position. And I do very much remember dreading every single break because I was on my own. And I remember just walking up and down, thinking about, I was reading The Lord of the Rings at the time. So I was in my head, just making up stories. Your mother is right that you need to stay true to yourself. It's not a question of being grown up. It's not more grown up to leave your imagination behind. I spend most of my waking life writing about talking wolves and ghosts. And I'm 60. I'm 60. I'm a lot older than you. All I can say is you will get through this. You will find friends who have the same sort of interests as you. in the meantime, even though you're being miserable, it may actually help make you a writer. I think it certainly did help me. So I think your mother's absolutely right, and I hope that helps just a little bit. But you sound like you've got the makings of a writer. You really do. So keep with it. And don't let anyone tell you what you should and shouldn't be thinking, except your mother. So I think now we can go to, yes, this is something a little bit different. We'll take a break from the questions. And lots of you have told me over the years that one of the things you like about my books is the sense of place. Whether they're ghost stories or the Gothic Wakenhurst or the Wolf Brother books, you feel the sense of the place, the setting. So I thought you might like it if I shared with you a list of my favourite films, which, in my view, have a really terrific sense of place. And I have chosen ones which you might have a chance of getting hold of. The first one, this evokes the ice and the mountains, I think, better than anywhere. It's called Touching the Void. And it's actually a docudrama. It's a sort of documentary, but with dramatised bits. And look, there we are. It's about a real expedition that actually happened to Peru. It was a very famous classic climb, which went disastrously wrong. Look at that. They climbed it. Ciudad Grande in Peru, and it's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing film. So I do recommend it to anyone who likes mountains and the cold. It's just very, very exciting and brilliantly done, and was nominated for an Oscar and all the rest of it. So that's Ice and Mountains. The next one is The Desert.
There is a place where time stands still.
There we go. Yeah. Now this is Walkabout. This is a film that was made in, I think, 1971. And it's about two school children, English school children, who find themselves stuck in the Australian outback. And as you can see, yes, they have to survive, but they get together with an Aborigine, an Indigenous Australian, amazingly played by David Gallipoli. And it's an incredibly evocative film. I do urge you to try to get hold of it. It's a classic film. The only thing I would say is that there's a rather ill-judged poem at the end, so try to ignore it. I don't think it works. But by then, if you've enjoyed the film, great. Now, the third one is a strange one. It's not a particular place. It's an otherworldly sense of the wild. So if we can go to the third one. Thank you. Stalker. This is a classic Russian film by the great Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky. Made in when was it made? 1979. It's 3 hours long. And it's a very strange film. It's about a strange, mysterious zone which appears in an industrial wasteland. It's not all like this, because once you get to the zone, it's all sort of beautiful windswept trees and things. And it's got the most amazing feeling. Nothing much happens, so don't expect anything very exciting. Just sink into it and enjoy the atmosphere, because that's what you do with Tarkovsky films. And don't even try to understand it too much, because you'll only understand snatches, but it's really a fascinating film. If we move to something completely different, the classic film of the old dark house, The Innocents. This is the most amazing film, 1961 adaptation of Henry James's classic ghost story, The Turn of the Screw. The trailer looks a bit sort of lurid, but it's an incredibly subtle film. Yes, you see, it is a rather lurid trailer. The film itself is really subtle. Can I just say one thing? Please watch the black and white version. I think they produced a sort of colorized version, but it was shot in black and white for a reason. And it's an amazing, amazing film. And finally, something marine. Something marine. And this is an Oscar-nominated cartoon, an animated film called The Red Turtle. The simplest of stories. A man is shipwrecked and he meets a red turtle. And it's a beautiful, beautiful film. And it's very, very involving. The shipwreck at the beginning is terrifying. And it's a beautiful, beautiful film. So there we go. I thought you might enjoy those. So let's move. There we are. A little interlude, a movie interlude. So let's move back and just return to your questions and comments, part deux, as it were. Yes. Now, the first one is from Callum, and we've had a similar question from Rowan, which I won't show, but it's the same sort of thing. Callum's actually talking about thin air here, and he says, how does it feel writing children's novels compared to adult novels? I think, this is Callum, that they're both similar but dramatically different at the same time. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Callum, and Rowan has asked a similar question, what inspired me to write children's books? It's never really a question of me deciding, well, this is going to be an adult book or a children's book. It's the story that comes first. And then, I'll get an idea for a story. It might be a ghost up a mountain. And then I'll think, well, expeditions and things. Yeah, probably going to be grown up because it's going to get pretty bleak. Or a boy and a wolf in the Stone Age. Well, the boy, for some reason, walked into my head and he was 12. So I thought, well, it's probably going to be more appealing to children. That's how I'm led. It's by the story. Are there any differences in the writing? It's the type of story that dictates what I'm writing. Having said that, if I know it's going to be mostly appealing to children, I'm a bit less bleak, a bit more reassuring. I have a sort of almost like a mantra when I'm writing for children. It's that I don't want any child to feel worse about the world when they've finished reading one of my books. I want them to feel good about the world. So no matter, in the Torak books, we go to some pretty dark places, but we've always got Wolf and there's always some hope. So that's the difference, whereas dark matter and thin air can be a little bleak at times, but there we go. You're grown-ups, or some of you are anyway. Now we've got a sort of little clutch of questions about signings and visits and things, which I'll deal with. I won't share every single one, but I'll deal with some of them. Jade Pritchard, who I think runs a year 4 book club at Forest Row Primary School, which is located in Ashdown Forest. Sounds lovely. And the book club voted for Wolf Brother. Thank you very much. And it sounds like you've been doing some amazingly inspiring things with them. You'd love to submit questions to me if possible, and or maybe organise a surprise visit. Well, at the moment, Jade, I'm not doing visits to schools because of the COVID situation. Most children haven't been vaccinated, and I'm in a high risk group, so I'm quite keen to sort of avoid live visits. I'm not similarly doing written questions because I get requests from all over the world and I'd never get any chance to do any writing. But Zoom, we might be able to set up some sort of Zoom visit or something like that. That the way to do that would be to contact my agent. And for a similar thing, Kimberly Sargent, who's head of English at middle school in Staffordshire, who started the book with year 6, studying Wolf Brother, had to buy the rest of the series as they've been so inspired by the stories. Yay, I'm glad about that. You're obviously great teachers. And again, you're asking, well, maybe would I be available for a team or Zoom's call? Not a school's visit, but I think a Zoom call, we might well be able to set something up, depending on if we can get the technology to work. That would be through my agent. Sorry about the delay there, but I think we'll do what we can. And then finally, Hannah and also Isabella has asked the same question. The question is, will there be any book signing opportunities coming up now that restrictions are being lifted? Not sure. A few. I'm doing some festivals. I think I'm doing the Wimbledon Book Fest, relatively local festival. I think I'm doing Richmond. That there will be a few others. So there may be the odd book festival. I won't be sort of trawling around a lot of bookshops and things, but those will be posted on my website as and when they're firmed up. So you will be able to find them. let's hope things return a bit more to normal in the spring. Now we have one from Milan de Haan, who is, I think, in the Netherlands. Yes, this is a similar one. Yes, you wrote it a month ago, Milan, but you're doing an essay about the books, and you love reading. You're writing a book yourself, and you wondered if you could send me any questions. I'm afraid, Milan, a lot of people ask me that. Oh, there's a nice picture of you with your bike there. A lot of people ask me that, and if I did it for you, I'd have to do it for everybody. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair, and then I'd never get any time to do any writing. But can I just suggest there's an awful lot of information if you have a really good look at my website, especially wolfbrother.com. Have a look in there. You'll find probably lots and lots if you haven't already done your essay. So sorry about that. Two lovely comments. One from Eleanor, absolutely enthralled when she reads the Wolf Brother series. Utterly spellbinding. Thank you. So that's very nice. A longer one from Felicia Nilsson, who's in South Sweden. I can't read it all, but she read them first, the books in Swedish, when she was about 8 to 9. She's now 24. Sounds like you live in a great place, and you've got your father as a modern day hunter, grandfather who lived on an island as a fisherman, and she's always felt close to the wild. I'm not surprised. And she particularly enjoys all the sort of Nordic folklore, which has worked its way into my books. So it's lovely that you've spotted that, Felicia. Thank you so much for telling me that and sharing me that with me. Finally, two more substantive questions. One from Tinu. And there's quite a lot of questions. You're very interested in the prehistory. You've obviously the prehistory of Thorax people. You just finished my annual reread of the series, and she feels sorry for Horde. She's always felt a bit sad for him because he wasn't wholly terrible. You're absolutely right, he wasn't. And you've wondered, how much of the way he was came from being abandoned by his mother. It's a really astute, interesting point. What about his mother? And you're very careful about no spoilers, but, how did that come about? How did she, get the way she was? You've picked up on that there may have been something going on between her and the Oak Mage. Yes, I always wanted to do more with that, but I never had the time. And you have to make the comment, to feel the characters weren't very black and white. There's a lot of potential to unearth. Well, you're quite right. There is a lot of potential to unearth, with Finkheadin as well. But, I was writing adventure stories. They have a strong pull, and I can't sort of keep turning aside. I wasn't writing War and Peace. And also, I think, I'm really glad that you've been thinking about it. I'll leave it up to the fans to think of answers to all your sort of questions. Now we have a heartfelt final one from Matilda. Does Wolf ever die? That would be too mean. In Skin Taker, is he about 5? Yes, he's about 5, Matilda. I get that he could die, but that would kill the whole book. Not literally, but definitely literally. So yes, obviously you don't want him to die. Well, Wolf is a wolf. Although he's quite special, he is a wolf. So at some point, he is going to die. He doesn't know it, because wolves probably don't. I think it's probably only people who really know that we're all going to die. Is he going to die in the stories? I'm not going to answer that question. But just think about the word wolfbane. What does bane mean? Something that causes death. Now, that doesn't mean the wolf's necessarily going to die in wolfbane, but he's in danger in wolfbane. That's all I will say about it. So, I hope I haven't worried you too much, but I will leave the questions there. On a slightly cheerier note, at the last Michelle Paver Live, we had a contact from the Wolf Brother subreddit. I got a lovely thank you from Jess Payton, who's one of the moderators. So Jess, I just want to wish you and your fellow moderators very good luck with that clan tattoo competition that you've been running. And I am looking forward to being in more direct contact with you and with the rest of the subreddit community, the Wolf Brother subreddit community. Those are the prizes. Oh yes, with the clan tattoo. That's going to bring back memories for many of you. It certainly does for me. Yes, well, when I am, when we can set something up, which should be fun, I cannot promise to be 100% up on every nuance of ready ket, but I will do my best. So yes, so there we are. And any of you who are listening, if you want to join the Wolf Brothers subreddit, I'm sure they'd love to have you. So finally, do we have time for a quick catch up with live chat? If there's been any questions or anything like that, if there we go. Do you have a date for pre-order of Wolfbane yet, or is it pending the editing process? Do you know, that's a really good question. I do not know that. I'm just going to make a note of that so that we can ask. I can ask that because I have a regular meeting with. I'm just going to write it down now. Date for pre-order of Wolfbane. I think there might be, but I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that. Is there another question here? What was your favourite book to write in the Chronicles of Ancient? Lots of people ask me that. There really isn't one because it's usually the one I've just finished, for the reason that writing these books is incredibly hard work. They may not seem very laborious, but they are, because I've got to work out everything. I've got to work out the phases of the moon and, exactly the topography of what's happening and where's Torak and Ren and Wolf and Rip and Rek and Ark and Dark and Finkheaded, But when I've sorted all that out, as I have with Wolfbane, and even more so with Skin Taker, and it's fresh in my memory, that's a great feeling. So it's usually the one I've just finished, which is my favourite. So all of them have something special. Forest Art, how do you join the Clan Tattoo competition? Well, I think the first thing you do is go to the subreddit, the Wolf Brothers subreddit, and that they're very friendly, and that should help you. I think that should help you. Yeah. Okay, I think that might have been a clue there. Hi from Jersey, love all the books. Well, that's lovely from Jersey. We don't often get that. That's smashing. Thank you. Hoping Wolfbane's cover is revealed today. Yes, I'm sorry, no, we can't do that yet. We've got the basic, well, more than the basic design, but there's always quite a lot of toing and froing about exactly what sort of finish to have, how much foil, that's sort of gold or silver, and those details make the difference. I mean, the early cover for Skin Taker, we had the design, the beautiful design, but it needed a lot of work to intensify the colours and things, and that can make a huge difference. So no, I'm afraid we haven't got the Wolfbane cover yet. I mean, it's 9 months until it comes out, after all. Which of the Soul Eaters was your favourite to write? I had fun with all of them, every single one, and I really enjoyed the fact that I sort of concentrated on a particular one in each book. I particularly loved writing Aostra because she's just so, I think she's frightening, and she's really out there in terms of what she did to contact the dead and that sort of thing. I did like that, Aostra. I also like Tenris very much, and yeah, Thiazi, because he's such a boor, really. What makes Hylas? Last question. What makes Hylas and Pyrrha from Gods and Warriors such great friends? Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I mean, they're opposites in a way, come from very different backgrounds, but they both want to be free. I think that's they both have huge challenges in that area, and they both want to be free. I think that's why. So thank you for asking something a little bit out of left field there. Well, look, thank you for all your great questions and comments. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for at the moment. As always, thank you to Elf for producing everything and linking everything together and all the great visuals and the crow, and thanks to the crow. Yes, Elf has just suggested that I thank the crow, who, thank goodness, his parents have taken him off and given him something to eat because he really was getting very insistent. Yeah, and thank you even more to every one of you who has got in touch and really, really lovely. And particularly those of you writing in a foreign language, in English, not as your first language. I'm really impressed. Please keep the questions and comments coming. Go to michellepaver.com, click on ask, fill in the form, and I'll answer as many as I can in the next MP Live. You can also keep up to date with me on Twitter, Twitter at Michelle Paver, on YouTube, and on Instagram. So with that, in the meantime, it's goodbye from me, and stay safe and happy reading.